Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe, we're joined by Joey Draper of South of Salem.
It was in the studio that it actually started kind of evolving into South of Salem. So really for us, it was going to be this album, like a new album for an old band.
Right.
And it ended up being a new album for a new band in the studio, all very organically.
Particularly that horror influence there. You know, obviously looking at you now, we can see with the horror tattoos and the screen posters.
Yeah, that's the horror collection over there as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very much.
Like a lot of us are more shy and kind of reserved off stage than we look like we are on stage. I mean, someone came up to us at our Brighton show the other day, and they came up to me and they were like, "I thought you were going to be an arsehole, but you're not an arsehole." And I'm like, "Oh,
thank you."
Thanks. Yeah. Question mark. And it was like, no, like you come across so like arrogant and confident on stage, and then you come on stage, you're like, dude, that was a good show, and I'm like, thanks.
Welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music.
My name is Aaron Day, lead guitarist, UK band These Wicked Rivers, and I'm here, music videographer and photographer. It's Mr. Ryan Basie.
It is.
It is. This week on the Vibe, we're obviously going a bit to the dark side, Mr. Basie. The dark side. I like to say it in this very unscary voice, just so that the people at home can deal with it. It takes the edge off. Yeah.
Yes, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Joey from South of Salem.
Yes. Very cool.
Yes,
different.
I was going to say they have a different vibe to a lot of the bands that we've had on, really, don't they? There's this more kind of what do we call it?
Gothic.
Yeah,
sort of like almost like, I mean, we discussed it in the interview with Joey, that more sort of almost horror infused, which very much comes from his sort of love for the horror genre. And it got us thinking about bands that focus a bit more on that darker side, and how far you want to go into it. I mean, Alice Cooper's the first one, the godfather of shock rock.
Yes,
which is that's the genre a little bit, isn't it, of shock rock?
I think that's what it was called. Yeah, back in the
70s, like Arthur Brown and stuff. It is. And I always loved Alice Cooper because it was particularly when I was younger, because I used to root for my mum and dad's vinyl collection and nick vinyls from my own collection, but my mum didn't really look after her records. That's what my dad said anyway. So I used to not really take them. I used to take my dad's, but my mum loved Alice Cooper, and I remember you'd have the schools out and you'd open the vinyl up and it'd be like a desk. You'd have $1 Billion Babies. You'd open it up and you'd have like a dollar bill. Everything felt like it was very theatrical, and almost like panto. I know panto seems like a very derogatory term, but it's that kind of thing where you go in and you're watching a show, aren't you, more than just a rock show.
Yeah, I think it's like when there are bands like that, it's more of an immersive experience. You've seen bands, I think, further on down that timeline, your Motley Crues, who go as far as dressing up completely and basically becoming different characters.
Yeah, definitely. And they've got to perform to them characters. And I think from a fan perspective, I really enjoy it because I think you get to know certain parts of the set. Ghost or another one, a more modern sort of adaptation of that. You're waiting for certain things to happen, And I think South of Salem, even though they're probably not going that far, there's definitely that inspiration there. And like we said, it's nice to see someone doing something a bit different, because the new wave of classic rock scene, as much as so many great bands, we're all kind of hitting that classic rock sort of vibe. Where how would you describe South of Salem sort of sound, right, for those that don't know?
I would say South of Salem they're like an amalgamation of what I would say kind of 80s hard rock blended with some stuff in the 90s that's probably a little bit more grungier. And then some kind of stuff from the mid 2000s as well.
Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah, there's some Avenged Sevenfold in there. So it's kind of taken pieces from these three different decades. And then on top of that, you have this kind of horror movie influence as well, which is really interesting because it's something different. I can't think off the top of my head of somebody that could be a direct influence. Because they do feel like an amalgamation of a load of different things together.
Which is how you create, in a weird sense,
something
true
new.
originality. Yeah, everything has to be drawn from something. We look at Sabbath and all these bands that were kick-starting the entire genre. Sabbath were just knocking around playing blues songs. Yeah. Just covering blues songs when they were called Earth, and then it formed into something else. Sabbath, another one, a little bit kind of shocked just because of how
Very
heavy it was, terrifying. My dad said the first time he heard Black Sabbath, he shit himself. I don't know if literally.
Yeah.
It's not for me to know. But if people dare, if they dare want to hear this interview, where can they hear that, Mr. Dace?
They can hear that now.
So we're here with Joey, lead singer of South of Salem. Thanks for joining us, man.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me, dude.
That's cool. So one thing that we like to do on the show is we like to go back to like the origins of a musician. So with that in mind, when was the first time you remember hearing music and thinking like, this is what I want to do? Did you have like a moment?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up listening to like 50s rock and roll and stuff with my parents, and for my dad's 40th, which is going back probably about 25 years now. For my dad's 40th, I learnt a favourite song of his and performed it with a live band, and that was my first ever performance. And then I was like, yeah, I really want to do this. I enjoyed that. That was fun. And it was literally one song, one night, and that was it. It all changed then. I wanted to be in a band.
How old were you at that point?
Oh, making me do math live. Oh my God. 12? Let's say 12. Right, okay. No, that's definitely not right. Something like that, though.
So like early sort of like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, maybe 10.
Yeah. And were you immediately kind of drawn to vocals? Was that just immediately there? Or after that first gig, did it take a bit of time to kind of fall into the role?
I mean, I played a little bit of guitar when I was a kid. I just kind of learned the basic chords, and I'm still at that stage now. I just don't think anything else is for me. I really enjoy singing. But I was always like writing poetry and like lyrics when I was a kid, so it kind of made sense.
A natural progression, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
It's an interesting age when you're getting into music, because I think you're naturally drawn, like it says, with 50s music around you, you've grown up with it. I think we naturally fall into our positions in bands. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, you just feel comfortable with it, and it naturally comes. So the band itself kind of came together in 2018. But what was the moment for you personally, man? Whether it be like a practice or a certain song or a gig where you thought, "Fucking hell, this is going to be good," we had about 3 songs written before like we got to writing Cold Day in Hell, and when we did that one, it's about the 4th song that we wrote for this band. And when we did that one, I was like, oh, this one's got something. Like, I think this is the one we should release first. And we actually didn't end up releasing that one first. We did Let Us Pray first because it was closer to what, as band members, we'd done in our previous projects. Yes.
So we had to kind of wait to release that, and then lockdown happened, so it took even longer for Cold Day in Hell to come out. But I kind of knew instantly that song was going to be like the one that everybody kind of sang along to, and I was right. That's the one that's got something like 200,000 listens on Spotify now, and when you compare that to the other ones, comparatively, that's massive in comparison to those. So yeah, I was definitely right on that. But it was that song, I think, that made me think, yeah, this band's got going somewhere. It's got something cool.
Yeah, it's cool when you've got that creative process in it, particularly in like the early days of a band, where you start to look around at each other and think, oh fucking hell, this is starting to vibe now. As you said, you all kind of came from different projects that kind of pull you into that point. How quickly did the sound of the band come together? Was it an easy process? Was it a difficult one? Did you have an idea in your mind before it all kind of came together?
It was pretty organic, but it took a while, because when we, in all honesty, like we'd been in a band before that was more kind of charactery, it probably wasn't as original as this band. Like it sounded like other bands, and it was a bit more of a character vocally, and we kind of went in writing for that. And we've got like demos where I'm singing in this kind of like really different voice, and it sounds so odd now when you listen back to them. But it was in the studio that it actually started like kind of evolving into South of Salem. So really for us, it was going to be this album, like a new album for an old band.
Right.
And it ended up being a new album for a new band in the studio, all very organically. And it was cool. Glad it did, because it gave us a fresh start and meant that we could do something a bit different.
That's cool, man.
Speaking of that, the debut album, The Sinner Takes It All, which is out now.
It is.
Yeah. What was the process behind that? Did you set out with a certain vibe that you wanted to achieve? Did you approach
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it started out as a different idea, but it was very like quickly in the studio that started becoming this new thing. But we worked with Scott Atkins, who is an incredible producer at Grindstone Studios. He's worked at like Cradle of Filth and Monomath and Behemoth and stuff. It's just an amazing list of bands he's worked with. And I think we were a bit of a passion project for him, because when we came to him with these ideas, he's obviously used to working with much heavier bands. Like, he's had some really heavy bands go through there. But he was able to kind of hone in on all of his influences, because he was a big like Bon Jovi fan. Like, he was a really big who was it? It was Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses. So he was like throwing all like these singers at me. I mean, I am talking from my point of view, but like certainly the other band members would be the same. You know, he was throwing all these different influences at us, and we were like, oh yeah, that would really work like that. So he became like another member of the band, and that was an amazing process. Recording that album like was so fun, and it just happened really quick. We actually had like about 12 songs. Well, we had more songs written, but we had like these 12 that we were really happy with, and that everything is on the album, including the bonus tracks. You know, so it was good fun.
Like, was that the first time you'd worked with a producer, Joey? Like, how did you?
First time ever.
Yeah, how did you find that personally, man? Because I've always found it when you've recorded before without one, it takes a while just to get used to, you know, having somebody kind of direct you in that way. How did you find that?
I thought it was great. I mean, it helped me out loads personally, because it gave me the confidence in just my own normal vocal ability and my own voice. Because I definitely, every like video tutorial you watch on like singing vocals, they always say find your voice, but it's really difficult to do that when you're not very confident. So I'd always like kind of try and imitate someone else, because I'd seen that worked for them. So I was like, oh, well, if I imitate that, then that'll probably work. And never had that confidence in my own voice. So it was really nice to have someone there, just basically like a glorified cheerleader, really, like in some aspects, you know, like really like just like cheering me on and just going, yeah, that is the right thing to do, keep going, kind of thing. But we were definitely like a bedroom band before, like all of us. I mean, everything that we'd done in all of our previous projects was recorded in someone's bedroom with a dodgy mic and a dodgy amp through a dodgy program. So yeah, it was a very different process, and I'm quite looking forward to it, because we want to work with him again. So we're kind of having to wait to record anything else, because he's busy, he's had a kid, and he's got loads of bands that he's working with and stuff. So we're waiting for him, but it's going to be really different again, I think, to go in there with this band in mind, because when we first started working with him, it was a completely different idea, and it became this. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think.
Cool. So with that in mind, man, obviously, you know, in kind of the new wave of classic rock scene, you know, there's a lot of bands going for that sort of old school classic rock vibe. Whereas one of the things that really stuck out to me and Rye was how much of an individualist image you guys had. You know, did that, like you say, you went into the studio kind of without the band being there, and that time the studio kind of created South of Salem. How quickly did it go into the next step in terms of the image and the character and wanting to be different? Did you guys purposely set out thinking we want to be different from everyone else, or did it just happen naturally?
I think we didn't want to do the kind of cut and paste we trying to be in the 80s. Like, I mean, we're all massive fans of 80s rock. We love like Def Leppard, Wasp, and like Guns N' Roses and stuff. We love that. But there's a lot of bands that are doing that kind of vibe, and they're doing it really well. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, some of my favorite bands like Crazy Licks and Reckless Love, and like, you know, there's loads of bands that are taking that 80s thing and they're doing amazing things with it. But we just knew that wasn't us. We didn't want to be an 80s band. We just wanted to be influenced by our 80s bands and carry on being ourselves. When you see us outside of the band, apart from like throwing on a bit of makeup to you know, try and look a bit better and a bit younger, apart from that, that's how we dress. You know, that's who we are. Like, none of us are putting on anything. That's just, you know, I'm really into horror, the guys are really into horror movies and stuff, and so I'll wear a horror t-shirt on stage, and yeah, I don't know, apart from that, there's not really much thinking behind it. It's just us being us and playing music influenced by 80s rock and with a modern production, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
You can really see that in like you know, the music videos and stuff. You know, it's particularly that horror influence there. You know, obviously looking at you now, you know, we can see with the horror tattoos and the screen posters.
Yeah, that's the horror collection over there as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very much like me with that one.
Huge. Yeah, it's massive. So yeah, like I mean, I'm a massive horror fan, always have been. So I mean, I grew up on like 50s rock and roll, but I also grew up on 50s like B movies as well with my dad. So, you know, it was all Godzilla and monster movies and stuff. But yeah, like that's my thing, and so that's why I mean, I do all the music videos for the guys. You know, like, it's just something I've always loved doing. It's one of my favorite things about the band is kind of being able to make music videos, and kind of we do it all ourselves, because we then we were able to put our own stamp on it and everything, and it can kind of be a continuation of just our music and our stage show then.
Well, you said you do the videos. Do you film them, or do you do more that you just kind of write them and just direct them and stuff like that?
So I write, direct, and then I edit them all. So I do all the editing. So actually, my friend Ben is the cameraman. So I basically just tell him what I'm looking to do. I'm really bad at lighting. That's like the worst thing, as you can probably tell. I'm really bad at lighting. So that is... I know that Ben is better at that than I am. So I basically just tell him, like, I want it to be these kind of colours and have to this kind of look. And then he does the rest. But on, have you seen all the videos we've done?
Yeah, we were just watching them before we came on with you. That's why I was interested to ask, because I was surprised. You know, no discredit. You know, it's cool.
No, quality's really high. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we kind of wanted to put like like one of the rules that we made with this band is to put the money and the effort into the places that deserved it.
Yeah.
I mean, in a band, that's pretty much every area, but we'd always skimped out. We'd always been a music video kind of band, but it was always just like DIY at home. The recording was always DIY at home. The photo shoots were always DIY at home. So we just went like, professional photographer, professional videographer, or professional, put money into the videos to make it professional, and professional producer. And that's what we did basically. But with the videos, yeah. So Let Us Pray was like probably the most difficult to organise. Like we got a big church that's been converted into a music venue, and the height of it's only used for pop. It's like the biggest waste ever. It's so annoying. It's used for like raves and like pop acts, and there's never any rock in there, and it looks amazing. So we were like, we'll hire that out. So we hired that out, and then everybody that's in the Let Us Pray video, which is got like the Purge kind of style people, that's just all our mates, like coming into one room in like a revolving door style thing, like come in, stand on that little lazy Susan that you spin your food around on, and then we'll spin you around slowly. And that's how we got all these kind of like shots where everyone's like doing all these kind of poses and stuff. And like we bought a car for like 200 quid, and then did it up as a police car, then smashed it up. And it's for like in it for like 1 minute, like it's like literally like about a split second. And but yeah, we just trying to put all the effort into that. And then Cold Day in Hell was like a 2-day shoot where we hired out a farm, and then we went into the New Forest to film all the females walking down the road, and us in suits and stuff. And then Demons was just like in a photographic studio. So that was probably the easiest one to make, but that was more about the message, and we had to get all the clips from the fans to join in on that one. And then when it got to Pretty Little Nightmare, I was like, right, guys, I really, really want to make like a film style one, like a proper like movie one with actors, and like give it like a Tim Burton kind of vibe. So I did like all the animation that you see in the background, and all the makeup and stuff was all. I just do everything. But it's because I studied film and never got to do anything with it, because I accidentally joined a band, and I've been in bands for 18 years now, and I'm like, I didn't do anything with the film that I studied like 4 years. So yeah, so I just try and kind of push that as far, as much as I can. We've got another video as well that we filmed, but we're trying to do like a live footage one where it's got some behind the scenes and then us playing.
When it comes to gigging that new material off the debut album, is there any like personal favourites to you? Anything you kind of look forward to playing live?
It would be Cold Day in Hell if it wasn't at the end of the set. Because that's like, it's got like this really high note in the bridge, and I never hit it live. I'm going to admit it right now. I never hit it live unless I'm on a really, really good day. Like I'm just like, so I just wrote that song. We recorded like bit by bit, like you naturally do, like in a studio, and you re-record bits and pieces. And then like when it came to playing it live, I was like, oh my God, I haven't left anywhere to breathe. There's like the first verse, chorus, verse, and bridge are like just back to back, with no real instrumental part where I can go, because I'm asthmatic as well. That does not help. Like, it's terrible. But it would be Cold Day in Hell if it wasn't at the end of the set. But I think Let Us Pray, because it's the opener, and it always sounds the best because I'm not tired. I think that's the good one. That's a good one.
I had the problem too after lockdown where I put on a bit of timber. So the first song on our set with Rivers is always my favourite, because I'm normally the most energetic, and afterwards I'm just a wheezing mess.
Yeah, proper puffed out.
I think our first one was good, wasn't it? So yeah, I'm pretty similar.
Yeah, we have like the stage risers, and I put my leg up on those, and everyone thinks like, oh yeah, that's to look cool. It's not. It's so I can lean on it because I'm tired. I'm like,
take a minute,
have a little rest. Hold on, hang about. Like, it's that way, man. I'm getting on.
Oh, mate, don't. Honestly. Now, obviously, one of the things that we picked out, and it turns out that it's quite a natural progression, obviously, around sort of the identity of the band, which is really cool. But it's similar to me and the Boys in Rivers, but in very different ways, obviously, kind of dressing up and having a bit of an identity, which I think is really cool and been lost in a lot of bands. I think that's what makes people fall in love with bands, is having that kind of, an identity and going on stage looking like you're there to perform. Do you find that when you step out on stage and you've all kind of dressed, to perform, and do a South of Salem show, do you go into a different character, particularly as a vocalist, and when you were forming that character, was there any particular vocalist that influenced you from a stage?
I mean, I think we are certainly different on stage than we are off stage. I think a lot of us are more shy and kind of reserved off stage than we look like we are on stage. I mean, someone came up to us at a Brighton show the other day, and they came up to me and they were like, "I thought you were going to be an arsehole, but you're not an arsehole." And I'm like, "Oh,
thank you,
thanks." Question mark. And it was like, "No, like you come across so like arrogant and confident on stage, and then you come on stage, you're like, dude, that was a good show." And I'm like, "Gee, thanks." I'm just like, "Oh, okay, thank you very much. That's really nice." So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I'm definitely different off stage. I think we all are in our own ways. But I mean, with me, and Cody's like a massive Avenged Sevenfold fan. Yeah. And I love their music, but I'd never really kind of analysed them. But their lead singer has just got such good stage presence. So I try and take a leaf out of his book. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I like Wayne Static from Static X. I like that he was a bit different and kind of just, there was always the energy, no matter how kind of how late into the set he was always getting people jumping up and down. So I kind of like that energy as well from Static X days. I don't know, not really suited to our music, but Jonathan Davis is a massive influence to me. I love Korn, and so kind of I love the way that he kind of uses his microphone stand. I don't really get to do that much in this band, but I in some of the videos, I've had to mess around with the microphone stand. But we're small stages at the moment, so if I start swinging that around, it's going to go wrong. But I think Jonathan Davis, Avenged Sevenfold singer, and and Wayne Static would be a good mix of how I'd love to perform.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man.
Now we like to kind of throw some weird questions at artists.
That's okay. I've got weird answers for you.
So hypothetically, for South of Salem's next album, you've got a gun to your head. You've been told that you've got to go out and make another one, but it has to be a different genre. What would that genre be?
Oh my god, that's
Have you ever had a passion project? Maybe I'd love to give this a go.
Because I've worked with Cody for so long and on different things, I know that he loves coming up with these little kind of country kind of riffs, these real kind of dark Johnny Cash style country riffs. So I reckon that him with us all together, I reckon that we could probably put together a pretty cool deep South of Salem.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's the name right there.
Yeah, we got.
That's the name of the album. Shit.
Yeah. Oh my god, we might have to change. I'm going to bring out Scott now. We'll change it. We're not recording a new album with you. We've got to get some
country album called South of Salem.
Is there?
I'm imagining it all in my head already. It's going to be out. And the videos you could do them as sort of deep South, because I love that creepy kind of True Detective Southern American sort of vibe. So you could do all the videos like that. I'm not getting into this. I'm not taking it further.
This is a great idea. All of our titles are puns, so we'd have to come up with some kind of pun title for it. I'll have a think. But yeah, I reckon deep South kind of country bluesy kind of thing would be cool.
I'd be into that, man.
Be interesting.
Now, one of the questions we like to ask artists as well, Joey, is it's kind of, looking ahead. People, I think in bands we always have personal milestones that we want to reach, whether that be certain festivals, just to be able to do it without, having to have a sort of normal job. Where do you see the band in 10 years' time? Any personal goals you'd like to achieve in that time?
I mean, if we're still alive, I'm hoping. I mean, going on tour with these guys is insane. Going on tour with these guys is insane. We're we influence each other to party way too much. So I'm hoping that we'll be still alive and still together in 10 years. I mean, I'd love to play Download. We had the honour of playing Bloodstock last year, and that was our 4th show, and that was kind of in the that was in the pipeline for like a couple of years down the road. Hopefully we'll play Bloodstock and maybe Download kind of thing. And then here we are like 4 gigs later and we're like, shit, we're playing Bloodstock. This is insane. So, I mean, I'd definitely love to play Download to say that we had. You know, it's got that notoriety and it's an amazing festival. I'd love to play Bloodstock again. I mean, just getting touring. I mean, like you said, it's so difficult having a day job. We've all got day jobs. We're all trying to squeeze in like a 3-week tour using all of like our accrued holiday and like trying to like work gig every other weekend that we possibly can. So yeah, to get to a position where we don't have to have the day job, I think would be great, you know, just to be able to do this full time. And actually thinking about it, more importantly, to get to a point where we can have some roadies, because
nobody says this, but this is a really good point. Yeah, to finish a gig and not have the dread of having to pack your own shit up.
I don't mind the packing away. But I really hate going on stage, like plodding on, like putting your stuff, like like put my app, and then going off stage and then big entrance. Hello, we have something. You've just seen us on stage, and it's like we were just like in our hoodies, like just lugging gear around like a bunch of like wheezy asthmatic old men, and then we come on stage and we're like, yeah, we're so cool, and like you've just seen us like packing all our gear onto stage. It looks awful. So yeah, to have roadies at the beginning of our show, if they get drunk or we can only afford them for the beginning, I don't mind packing the stuff away at the end. That's okay. It's just that beginning bit so we can do the big entrance. That would be cool.
I think that's a great shout. Do you have specific people you'd take with you? Because I've always had people like that. If I could, I'd take with me. Just because. Yeah.
Hilarious. We've got one that like used to run around with our last band, and like we called him like Band Mum, and he literally just looked after us. It's like this big guy, big beard, and we're like, Mum, we've lost the guitar. We're like, Mum. And he was just amazing. He just looked after us all the time. And we got a really cool manager called Gordon as well. Like he's just awesome. And like, I'd definitely take him with us as well. He's just a good laugh to have around. I think like, I toured a little while back with a band, and they said they picked their sound man not because he was any good at sound and lighting. It was because he made them laugh, and they taught him how to do sound and light. It's just having those people that are good influences, keep it fun, keep it real while you're on tour. I think that's who you need. So yeah,
that's cool, man. Now, obviously, you set your first target up in just staying alive in the next 10 years. So the fact you're going on tour with The Treatment and Piston isn't really a great one.
I'm worried. I'm worried just about like just surviving for 3 weeks in general. Then add in the equation that we're going to be with like The Treatment and Piston, and I know what my band members are like. I'm like, I don't know.
We know Jack.
We're doomed to fail.
Yeah, Piston. I mean, Jack's the only one that's well behaved out of Piston, but the rest of them are fucking liability. and we've interviewed Danny for The Treatment, but I don't know what they're like on tour. But I imagine it's going to be. So if you can maybe that as initial starting goal, just to get through that tour, would be a good one.
Yeah. I need to buy some bigger boots as well, because like The Treatment average height is about 7'2". I swear. I'm pretty short, but I'm not that short. Yeah. And they make me look like Wee Man from Jackass. Like it's insane. I'm so I was just looking at, I met with a few of them. I'm just like, oh my God. Like they're just like, it's insane how tall that band are. But if they party, I don't know. I think we're definitely gonna lose our drummer. He is gonna die. Well, there's already like hashtag pray for Pip things going around every time we announce a tour. We'll say another gig
as well. Yeah,
hashtag pray for Pip.
It's an important message. Mine is obviously the tour where loads of people can come and check you out and hopefully get loads of new fans from The Treatment Boys. Have you got any other notable gigs coming up? Any festivals? Anything planned?
Oh my God, I'm the worst at this, and I'm using my phone for this, so I have no access to anything.
Everybody forgets.
Yeah, like Rockmantic Festival, Love Rocks. There's loads of rock-related ones, like
Call
the Wild Festival. Yeah, there's so many, man. Like we're looking forward to all of them, and some of them are like kind of smaller festivals, some are massive. Like some have got some like really like amazing bands on the lineup. So we're like honored just to be part of it, because we released our album in lockdown, thought that we'd have to start like the dingy little clubs kind of thing and work our way up for the next few years. So to already be on these stages and pretty high up, like on some of them, like it's worryingly high up on the bill. Like, I'm like, oh my God, we've got to like follow these bands. It's insane. But it's going to be fun. And like, there's so many bands that we want to see play. It's just an honor to be part of it.
Awesome, man. Well, hopefully we'll catch you on the road at some point.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
To catch a show, man.
Now, one question that we like to kind of finish on, it's a bit of our signature thing that we do. If you could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be? You've got your time travel device.
Time travel. Okay. Oh, God. Oh my God, that's so difficult.
Everyone struggles with this question.
Yeah, it's tough because there's so many bands.
I mean, you could pick a specific era if you like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I would love to tour with GNR, but like original, like Appetite era. Yeah. Just to see what it's like.
Most people
same with Motley Crue.
Popular choice.
Yeah, Motley Crue as well. Like kind of '87, kind of Motley Crue with just like it's something like that late '80s kind of period, just playing like Sunset Strip gigs and stuff. Van Halen around that time as well, because I mean they were starting it all back then, like on the Sunset Strip. So I'd love to like tour with any of those. Present day, Alice Cooper, like just
good choice. Yeah,
it's been an inspiration to me for like the theatrical side of things, and the guy's just got so many good songs, it's insane. So like that would be a modern one, just so I can hear like a good array of different eras. Yeah.
I think Alice has got such a good live band as well, like because obviously he's getting to that age now. He puts a fantastic band around him that helps carry that legacy really well, and I think he still serves that legacy without it feeling like it's it's overdrawn past his age or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like they're kind of overshadowing him in any way. They kind of just all support each other. He doesn't need them, but like it just adds so much to it. Like, but yeah, I think he's still got it enough. I mean, Nita Strauss, the guitarist for Alice, just like she's just done a solo album, and it's just amazing. Like, she's so good. It's insane. Like, and it's just nice to get a mix of people as well. Same with GNR though, to be fair, like modern GNR, like, I know it was like Chinese Democracy got a lot of hate and stuff, but like that, I went to see that in like 2012. Yeah, in like 2012, I saw 2 shows back to back, and it both were completely different. They were both incredible. The set list was amazing, and it was just this great mix of people, like all playing on stage. And he gave them like Axl was like would go off stage and change into about 1 million different costumes, and during that time everybody kind of showcased their talent. It was just amazing, so good. So yeah, well, I'll get there one day. I'll do all costume changes and stuff.
It's all part of it. So we've got South of Salem, and then we've got, I'm going to put late 80s GNR below Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper's going to headline because
he's got a headline.
He's the king. Fantastic. We'll make it happen. We'll go away,
of course,
in the time machine, and we'll come back to you.
Sounds good, man. Thank you very much. Get the DeLorean now.
Thanks ever so much for your time, brother.
No, anytime, man. It's great to meet you guys.
Yeah, no, Jordan, we'll have to come out and try and catch some of them dates with Piston the Treatment, brother.
Yeah, sure.
The killer. Right, see you soon, mate.
Cool. Thanks very much, dude. Have fun.
So yes, that was Joey from South of Salem. As we said before we went into the interview, I really enjoyed kind of hearing that bit of horror influence coming in, and it was very interesting, particularly around, he kind of tickled around it, and we spoke more about it sort of off air, but that he does the videos as well, and that horror influence comes in a little bit, and you can obviously see that with the identity of the band.
Yeah,
shines through,
Yeah, it's interesting. When you spoke about that, I'm going to include that in the video because I think that'll be one.
Sneaks in.
Yeah. When he spoke about that, it kind of all clicked. It was like, okay, yeah, I can see where, particularly the music video stuff comes in, because it's like he went to do like film school type stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's nice he's got that creative outlet.
Exactly, and he's got this second creative outlet that. He can now kind of incorporate into what he's currently doing. I
thought it was very interesting around the fact that they went in to record the album as a different band.
Yes.
I mean, that's weird, because normally when for me and the Boys and Rivers, we're going into studio soon, we're going in locked into who we are, what we want to achieve, the idea that we go into the studio and then come out of it like a different band.
Come out as Cradle of Filth.
Yeah. Yeah. Be a shock. I mean, I think Arwell could pull off a bit of a corset sort of vibe though, Yeah. It's the look he's been searching for. When Arwell was 17, incidentally, everyone 18, otherwise he'd be illegal. But you'd see him in Rock City with eyeliner on and black nail polish.
Fantastic.
Yeah, terrifing image.
I'm imagining him exactly as he is today.
With his beard. Massive beard. Scumbling out. But yeah, you can definitely see that image kind of coming through, and it's really cool that they all kind of serve that as well, because I think that's very important. I really struggle when I see a band and everyone jokes, oh, he's like, there's a punk band called Idols, and they all just run around the stage, and everyone jokes that the drummer looks like the social worker. So it's always nice to see in a band and think, everybody's on board with this. Yeah, everyone's locked into that image, and it makes the whole thing, which is a bit of storytelling, easy to believe.
It's very true with that comment in particular. We often comment, we always go, there's always that one member of the band that looks like a lawyer or somebody,
chartered accountant,
and it just ruins the image. Whereas these guys, I think they've all kind of really
committed to it.
Yeah, well, I think that, and I think that they so happen to all have kind of similar kind of tastes and thoughts. Which I think has kind of culminated in this debut album being, pretty popular release.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out more South of Salem myself.
Yes, and that's it for this week. And if speaking of segues, if you want to check out what we're doing,
it's piping hot in here now.
That was fierce. That was. If you want to see what we're doing, we put out a podcast every Saturday from 10 a.m. And if that isn't enough.
Another segue.
I know.
Can't take it.
We also do things like Extra Vibes, where we do like top 10s and lots of different things like that. And if you want to find out what guest we have on the podcast, tune in to our Facebook or Instagram every Wednesday from 10 a.m. And we reveal who that guest is in the form of a trailer.
We do indeed. If it's your first time checking out the Vibe, don't be afraid, don't be scared. Come in, sit down, have a drink. Click the bell, then you'll never miss a video. Subscribe, like the video. That lets us know that what we're doing you're enjoying, and we shall see you
next week.